Hi, everybody. I just got finished with a free consultation, and it resulted in the person becoming a full fee client. And I've heard from several of you, I'm clicking buttons while I'm talking to you, so I can invite people to join us. I've heard from several of you that it's difficult to convert from the consultation, particularly with online clients. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and talk about what's happening. I'm so sorry not to be looking at you. I just want to alert folks that we are going to be doing this live little video. So I'm going to give people a chance to join in. And I'm sorry that I just keep not announcing these. I don't know that I'm going to do them until I start doing them. So one day maybe I'll plan some stuff out, but I seem to be most inspired right after I talk to clients. So that's when I tend to go live. So I'll give you guys a chance to settle in. We're going to talk about how to convert free consultation sessions into paying online therapy clients. Okay. So I had somebody refer a client to me for a consultation. And what I always say at the beginning of those consultations is that this is just an opportunity for me to get to hear a little bit about what's going on for you, and for us to get an idea if therapy is the right fit for you, first of all, if online therapy is going to be a good fit, and if I'm the right fit for you. And if any of those things aren't the right things for you, I promise that I'm going to help you to figure out what is, and help you to figure out maybe what style of therapy would be a good fit, what style of therapist would or wouldn't be a good fit, so that you can get something useful out of our time together. Does that sound okay? That's almost always how I start. And then I'll usually say something like, so tell me a little bit about what's going on and what you're looking to get out of therapy. And so they'll usually give broad strokes because they don't know me and they don't want to give me a whole lot of detail yet. And I will be thinking in my head, like, this doesn't really tell me a whole lot about what's going on. And so I'll let them talk. I'll ask a few clarifying questions. And then I'll usually say something like, could you give me a specific example of a time recently that this came up? Because the more details I have about what it looks like, the more I can kind of put myself in your shoes and start to get a sense of exactly what's happening, and then exactly what you might need to do to be able to change what's happening. And so they usually will give me an example, and I'll ask a lot of questions during the example, like, did it feel like the feelings that you're describing came up first and then the thoughts, or did it feel like the thoughts that are bothering you came first and then the physiological feelings or the emotional feelings? So I'm really trying to get a sense of, is this going to be like a CBT sort of thing? Is this going to be an interpersonal sort of thing? Am I going to be explaining evolutionary psychology and how that's showing up in their dating relationships? I'm really looking to tease apart exactly what might be going on. And so literally about 15 minutes in, I'm offering a conceptualization. And I'm saying something like, I don't know you well, like we've only talked for 15 minutes. So I just want to throw some things out there to see if I'm hearing you correctly. So what I hear you saying is, for example, I'm trying to make sure I don't give a real example. Don't give a real example, Amber. Your significant other comes home, and as soon as you see them, you want to hug and snuggle, but they're like, busy, and they walk past you, and you immediately feel like that sinking, yucky feeling, and then you find yourself kind of wanting to pull away. And then when they try to come to you to figure out what's going on, you're sort of mad and you can't accept their affection, which is what you're wanting in the first place. And then the two of you end up in a fight. Does that sound like the sequence of what's happening? And they'll usually say yes, or they'll clarify, or I'll say where is it that I'm missing something? Is there anything happening in the sequence I'm not getting? So I ask a lot of questions about kind of setting up the frame that we're on the same team of analyzing this together. And then I ask questions about, well, how would you rather it go? So if we could work together or find the right person for you at the end, what would that look like? How would your interactions be different? How would your symptoms be different? Walk me through it. So I guess that's sort of the magic wand question. And then I'll say, okay, so I've asked lots of questions about you, and it sounds like we kind of have the beginning of an understanding of what might be going on. And typically by that point, I already know, like, okay, yeah, I could work with that person. So if so, I usually will say something like, it's sounding like, at least from like my skill set, my treatment orientation, I would be a good match for you. I'll have a few more practical questions about things like, you know, your Wi-Fi and stuff like that to ask a little bit later. But just thinking kind of clinically, we might be a good match, at least from my side. What do you feel like you need to know to get an idea about whether we're a good match from your side? And so, like, a lot of times what they'll say that from there is, well, like, what would you do with me if we were working together? What would that look like? And I will add the caveat, again, I've only known you for 20 minutes, so I'll offer you like a glimpse, but you need to tell me if that's not going to be a good fit, or maybe if you've done therapy before and you know what works and what doesn't work, this would be a good time to tell me about that. And so I'll kind of review what I think might be going on, and I'll review generally what I think might be helpful. And this is a great way to hope promote. So first of all, if they feel like you get them, like really, really get them, they're more likely to want to work with you. And if they feel like, holy crap, they might know how to help me, then they're more likely to work with you. So I did a lot of work in rapid assessment and rapid conceptualization when I was working in counseling centers in Virginia. So it kind of, you know, like that's really, really been helping me out because I can communicate quickly. Okay, got it. And not in like an analytical, removed way, but in a really connected, empathic, like, oh man, that really sucks. So like, here's the emotional connection you were craving right in front of you, and now you can't accept it because you're mad. Like, that sucks. So, you know, it's not just kind of like, well, according to Freud, blah, blah, blah. So usually they'll ask, like, what do you think treatment would look like? And I'll explain as if they were my client, not in like a highbrow kind of way, what I think it would look like. So I might say, well, it sounds like we have the beginning of understanding what the pattern might be. You know, like you get kind of the surge of yucky feelings when you're wanting or expecting this one thing and then you don't get it. And then that surge of yucky feelings causes you to reject the thing that you want when it's in front of you. So it sounds like we need to be working on how to manage that surge. And maybe like creating a pause between when that gets triggered and when you actually act or speak to your partner. And then some strategies that you can put in place to be able to not act from that triggered place, even if we can't get it completely contained in the moment. Does that sound like that might be helpful? And then I hear back from them. So it's like a constant check-in of like, am I on the right track? Am I totally off base? And so we collaboratively define what it might look like. Then they ask about pricing. And I am not good at that part yet. I just want to bend the price every single time. But when I stick to it, we'll say something like, okay, so what we would do first is a much more thorough assessment. So we did like a pretty quick nitty-gritty assessment here. I'd want to get to know a whole lot more. So I take 75 to 90 minutes to ask a bajillion questions. And then by the end of that, sort of like today, we'll come up together with an idea about, do we still think that we're going to be a good match? And do we still feel like I have the skills to meet your needs? And we come up with what that's going to look like, what our plan's going to look like. So that session, that big assessment session, is 300. And then typically I like to meet with people every week to start with for about 50 minutes so that we can build our relationship. And then we'll both get a good sense of when it's time to move to every other week or maybe even once a month. But we'll come to that decision together. Those 50-minute sessions are $200. And I bill in lots of different ways, so we'll find the way that works best for you. So the next step then would be going ahead to run through some of the practical reasons why we could or couldn't work together. So let's talk about some of that stuff. And then I start going through, like, are you able to stream Netflix and stuff like that. And then at the end, so again, do you have any questions? Does it sound like this is going to be a good fit for you? Let's talk about scheduling. So my conversion rate from those free consultations is super high. And I think that it is largely because I am connecting quickly to the client's pain, demonstrating, not telling, but demonstrating a desire to really get it and to collaborate with the client to get it. Demonstrating my competence, not by saying, oh, I have this degree, but by showing that I am getting it and finding out, like, is this it? This kind of sounds like this. Is that a good match? Blah, blah, blah. I think they're also getting a clear sense that I have some integrity, and that if I'm not a fit, they all know that I will not take them on as clients. So I think that that's really helpful. And I spend probably a little bit more time with them in the consultation than other people do. So I think most people do like a 15-minute consultation. I spend about 30 minutes, maybe even 35 minutes with people, because I want to get the right people and I want them to get the right person. And I think that that really comes through. So add in the comments section what your values are when you're talking with clients for that first time. I think mine are definitely demonstrating that I want to understand, like, analytically, cognitively, and I want to understand empathically, and I want to help them find the right solution, whether that's with me, whether it's not, whether it's therapy, whether it's not, if it's online, if it's physical. I don't really care. I just want to help them get the support that they need, and that I believe firmly that it exists. We just have to understand the problem well enough to get them connected to the right person. So I hope that that's helpful. I'm going to log off before I make this too long. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.